There we go. Just makes it a little bit easier for you folks to see. So good morning. We are going back to, so the last year we were focusing on recipes as the format for classes. And previously we had been doing plant exploration, single plant discussions. And so we're going to, under the, due to the request of a number of you, we're going to go back and forth between recipes for classes and then also single plant explorations. Hi, Teresa. So this morning, this is the first this year of our plant explorations. Hi, Ren. Hi, good morning. So hopefully you saw the discussion or the information in the notes and went and made some lemon balm tea if you have it. If not, I suggest you go run and make yourself some. And I'm going to do a little bit of talking, so there's still some time. You can make some lemon balm tea. It's just going to need a few minutes to steep, and then we can drink tea together. Or you can just watch this video and then go drink some lemon balm tea later on and apply these concepts to it. Either way, you're fine. So I want to show you lemon balm, what it looks like, what we're looking at when we're looking at lemon balm. However, I don't have any lemon balm growing in my garden right now. However, I have some lookalikes that I want to show you. This is one of the most common lookalikes for lemon balm, and some of you will recognize this one. Now, this one has a little bit longer leaves than lemon balm, but it looks almost identical. What's this plant that I'm holding here? All boldly holding it. What do you think? Anyone have any ideas of what this plant is? So we can see that it is opposite leaved. Do you see how the leaves, hi, come on in, how the leaves are opposite? They're coming off of the stem in pairs, right? And then if we go 90 degrees over, oh, there's another opposite stem. So this is a hallmark of, catnip is an excellent guess. It's incorrect, but it's excellent guess. Why did you think catnip, Teresa? We're identifying this plant, which is not lemon balm, which is the plant for today, but this is not a plant. I'm not going to let you get too close. I'm going to give you a hint.
I don't think I would guess it.
You might if you got very close. So Teresa gets 5 points for a catnip guess because you guessed a plant in the mint family. And the mint family, one of the ways to identify them is square stems and opposite leaves. So square stems, the stem on cross-section is square. The leaves are opposite, just like this. And it is aromatic. It totally looks like it, Teresa. Absolutely it does. This is nettle. This is stinging nettle right here. And that's why, were you good at? Oh! You get no points for not being brave enough to say, that looks like nettle. No, I just didn't want you to come too close, because if you had come close, you might have seen the hairs along the stem and on the top that are the difference. This is how you would differentiate, if you were just looking at them, nettle versus lemon balm. But nettle and lemon balm look almost identical in the garden, even though nettle is not in the Lamiaceae family. It's in a completely different family. This is why you can't always trust just knowing that the mint family plants are opposite leaves and square stems isn't enough. This is opposite leaves and square stems, and it's not anywhere close to a mint family plant. But it is lovely and nourishing. And then I want to show you also, this is another look-alike in my garden. So again, we have the toothed leaves. See those toothed leaves? These are a little bit more heart-shaped, but the shape varies considerably. So sometimes they will be elongated like this, more what are called flame-shaped, and sometimes they will be more heart-shaped like this. But they have the long petioles attaching them. This one, however, you'll see, is not opposite leaves. It's not opposite leaves. These are alternate leaves. See how there's a leaf on this side, and then there's a leaf going up on this side? They kind of step up, right? So this is called opposite leaves. Sorry, this is alternate leaves. This is opposite leaves. But the leaves themselves look almost identical. And so, yeah.
And that was lemon balm?
Neither of them is lemon balm, but lemon balm looks almost identical to nettle. I don't have any lemon balm growing abundantly right now, so I couldn't show you what it looks like. But I'm showing you nettle because it looks just like nettle. And then, of course, if you crush it.
It doesn't have the hairy stuff.
Right, that's right. Because nettle has a little what are called trichomes, and those trichomes are the little stingers, the stinging hairs that are on nettle. Yeah. But we're not talking about nettle. We are talking about lemon balm. So lemon balm. Now in older literature, you'll often see it referred to just as balm. So when you see old is like 1500s, 1600s, when you see herbal references to balm, you might wonder, well, I need more information than that. You really don't, because generally they are talking about lemon balm specifically. The botanical name, Melissa officinalis. So before Teresa yells at me, I'm gonna change it so you can see the whole thing. So Melissa refers to bees. The word Melissa in Latin means bees. And so whenever you see that name associated with something, there's something about, or mela, the root word means honey, right? Mellifluous is someone who has a mellifluous voice, is someone who is honey-tongued, right? So mela as the root, and Melissa as the plant. So Melissa, meaning bees. Bees love this plant, and they tend to go after those flowers. And then officinalis, we've spoken of before. When a plant has the species name officinalis, this means that it's an official plant of the apothecary. Kathy, hi Kathy. I have lemon and orange balm growing in my garden. They're easily one of my favorite plants. It's backwards. You know what? I was wondering about that. Sometimes they're backwards and sometimes they're not. And do I know how to? Yeah. I think it's this. Hold on just a nope. That's not it. Hold on just a moment, Teresa. You know, it wasn't backwards the last time. I don't know why all of a sudden it just went backwards. It annoys me. It's, you know, me and you know, this stuff, technology. Yeah, don't know why it turned backwards now. It hasn't been backwards for forever. Yeah, I'll try not to write on the board then. I'll limit board writing. You can just look at me. If I'm backwards or not, it doesn't make much of a difference. So Melissa officinalis, the family is the Lamiaceae family. So I'm gonna pour some of the tea. Do any of you have tea that you've made? Are you drinking tea with us? Now, our lemon balm that we're drinking today comes from Oshala Farm. It is farm direct. The freshness of lemon balm is a big factor in the taste and the fragrance. Lemon balm is one of the most unstable plants that we have when it comes to aromatics. But this one, what does it smell like to you?
It smells a little bit like rose.
A little rosy?
Or like artichoke.
Artichoke, yeah. So it's not really lemony, is it?
No.
It really is not. Yeah, I made, just as a comparison, I made some lemongrass. Smell this lemongrass and we'll taste the
I love
lemongrass
how
too.
lemongrass smells too. Yeah, that smells good.
So here's one of the things about lemon balm that we want to be aware of when we're using it just in formulations. It's not the lemoniest of flavors, and I have people quite often will add it to a formula as a lemon flavor, and it's very mild in its lemon flavor and fragrance. There's a reason for that, a good reason. If you want a lemon flavor, you want to use something like lemongrass, which even if it's dried, persists with that stronger lemon flavor. Even lemon verbena is better, but lemon balm, the aromatics in it are very, very mild, really low percentage, very unstable. And generally within about 6 months of getting any lemon balm, quite often it is undetectable as the dried plant from nettle. You can have lemon balm and nettle, crushing them up, dried plants and smelling them, and it can be difficult to identify which is which because the fragrance goes down, because those aromatics go down. But right now, this is freshly harvested and sent directly to us from the farm. And so this is about as aromatic as dried lemon balm is going to get. So we want to do that when we're first introducing ourselves to a plant. We want to smell it. We want to see if there's anything that is carried by the steam. Is the steam aromatic? Is there chemistry that is going to be carried by the steam? There is some, not a whole lot. We can taste it, and there's definitely much more of a flavor there than there is a scent. All right. So more of the chemistry of the plant we can tell is in the tea itself. Not so much in steam. This is definitely a plant that I would never even bother using as a steam medicine. Even though it has essential oil, that essential oil is so unstable that it's not going to show up in any steam. If you want to use it aromatherapeutically, you can grow the plant and crush the leaves and smell it, and that's a good way to use it aromatherapeutically.
So by unstable, does that mean it just like it evaporates quickly?
Exactly, yeah. So the lemon balm essential oil. So this is one of the most expensive of all of the essential oils. If you buy Melissa or lemon balm essential oil, your standard little essential oil size, about 10 milliliters or 1/3 of an ounce of a bottle, expect to pay about $200 for pure lemon balm essential oil. It is more expensive than rose essential oil. It is one of the most expensive. It is also one of the most easily adulterated. And so quite often you'll find Melissa essential oil on the market, lemon balm essential oil on the market that is cut. It's been adulterated oftentimes with lemongrass essential oil because lemongrass essential oil is persistent. It is stable. Lemongrass essential oil, you buy a little bottle of it, 10 ml bottle, and it's going to be $7. It's cheap and abundant. It's very, very easy to get essential oil, to distill essential oil from lemongrass, and it is persistent. It lasts for a long time because the chemistry of lemongrass essential oil compared to lemon balm essential oil is significantly different. So that's one of the things that you want to be mindful of is anytime you have anything that is scented with lemon balm or has lemon balm essential oil, you know, if the cost isn't reflecting that, and if you're not really clear on the person who's making it, the quality of the product, I would be skeptical because it is such an expensive compound, as I would with rose, as I would with neroli, most of those precious essential oils. Luckily, the essential oil isn't the most important of the chemistry of the plant. And this is a really important thing to recognize also, is that the majority of the medicine of the plant does come from non-aromatic compounds. And so it doesn't matter so much if your lemon balm tea smells like nettle, go ahead and drink it anyway, because while it won't have the essential oils, it'll have the other chemistry. Let's talk about that chemistry. I was going to write it on the board, but I'm not going to do that because they're all backwards. So some of the primary chemistry of, first, let's talk about the energetics, because this is another important aspect. So the energetics of the plant, good morning. So some people talk about this plant as being a sour plant, and I think, again, this kind of this speaks to that assumption of what a lemon balm, well, you know that because you can see the thing. The assumption of what a lemon scented or flavored plant, the assumption of the chemistry that's going to be there. So what is the flavor, or what are the flavors that are generally associated with cooling plants? Do you know what flavors we generally associate with those? Bitter is one of them, absolutely. The bitter flavor is generally draining and drying and cooling. Yes, absolutely. And there's one other flavor that we often associate with cooling plants. Sour, that's right, sour flavor. So that sour flavor shows the presence of what chemistry? What chemicals would?
The sour?
Uh-huh. If something is sour, what?
Antioxidants?
Oh, that is more, it absolutely could be antioxidants because they're often in like flavonoid chemistry. Flavonoids are often antioxidants. But more basically, what would the
acid?
Yep, acid, exactly. And when I said more basically, that was a little good. That was a little good. Yeah, see, I was kind of giggling to myself when I said that. I'm so clever. Yeah, acid is just an acid. So if you taste sour things, you know that there's acid. This is part of organoleptic testing, right? This is testing for the presence of chemistry of plants. This doesn't have a whole lot of acid in it, right? Lemon balm is not an acidic tea. It is, if you have the lemon fragrance, but the acidity of lemon, if we think of a lemon, the fruit lemon, the acidity doesn't come from the peel where the aromatics come from. It comes from the flesh. And the flesh is very high in acids. Yeah. And so when we have those sour flavors, when we have teas like hibiscus or rosehip or lemongrass, right? So again, here the lemongrass tea. So we were talking about the aromatics. If you smell your lemon balm tea, it's not terribly aromatic. But if you smell your lemongrass tea, yeah. So good. Here, shall I pour you some just because I keep on teasing you with smelling some? I'll give you a second cup. And then you can taste for the presence there. So this is important because we do often talk about chemistry of plants.
But these are very different plants.
These are
right?
very different plants. But we're talking about how so often people make assumptions that a lemon scented or lemon flavored plant is going to have the same chemistry. So lemon, lemon balm, lemon verbena, lemongrass, they're all going to be relatively interchangeable. And they absolutely aren't. Yeah, the digestive system, oh, it's so nice for the digestive system, the lemongrass. Yeah, really nice and cooling for the digestive system, cooling throughout the body. Yeah. Lemon balm, however, so we don't have that acidity, we just have those aromatics, and those aromatics, again, are very unstable.
Did you just chop up some of the leaves from the lemon balm and put it in the
Yep.
collar?
That's what I did. It's that huge lemon. Oh, the lemongrass.
Or the lemongrass.
Yeah. It's that big lemongrass. Got a thing and smacked it with a hammer to crush the leaves and then threw it in there. It's so good. Yes, and please take some lemongrass with you when you leave if you want to, because I'm about to cut it back again, and I hate putting it into the compost pile. I would really much rather give people lemongrass. Come by and get lemongrass. So the lemon balm essential oil then is very, very unstable. As soon as you dry it, it leaves, it evaporates. It's volatile, extremely unstable. And so it's not going to persist in the dried plant very well. It's going to break down very rapidly, and it takes an enormous amount of plant material to distill it to make the essential oil. So luckily, again, this is lemon balm. We're not actually talking about lemongrass. I just have that as a yummy. But lemon balm is what we're talking about. The primary compounds in lemongrass that are therapeutic are the flavonoids. So we have lemongrass. But balm, did I say grass?
Yes.
Okay, from now on, if I say grass, I'm just gonna move it out of my line of sight. You're not talking about lemongrass. So there are some compounds that are categorized as acids, but they don't give an acid flavor. So we want to be mindful of that. Just because something has acid in the plant, these are triterpenoids, long chain terpenes. And so there are three of them: ursolic acid, oleanolic. I always forget. Oleanolic acid. Actually, these two are some of the primary ones that are associated with the calming effects in the body. These are, and though they're triterpenoids, and a lot of triterpenoids are not water soluble, these are pretty readily soluble in water, so they make a great tea. And these have a unique effect on a neurotransmitter in the brain. There's a neurotransmitter called GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid, GABA. And GABA is one of the primary inhibitory neurotransmitters of the brain. It quiets the brain down. It reduces anxiety. It increases memory and mental alertness, but it's very calming. A lot of medications for anxiety work on GABA receptors in the brain. They increase the activity of GABA receptors in the brain. And you can also buy GABA as a supplement, and you can take GABA sublingually, open up a capsule of of GABA and put it on your tongue and take it. It's absorbed very rapidly in the brain, and taking GABA will go in and bind those GABA receptors. There's also an enzyme that the body makes called GABA transaminase, and this is an enzyme, and it's an ASE. A GABA transaminase is an enzyme that breaks GABA down. So generally we see this when we have a neurotransmitter. There's or when we have almost anything in the body, there's the thing and the thing that stops the thing, right? So we have a reaction and then a way to modify that reaction. And this is so in GABA. We have GABA production, but if the brain was constantly producing GABA, we would be in a mental state that wouldn't be optimal for many people all the time, right? And so the brain also produces an enzyme to break that stimulation. So when we have nerves, we have nerves, and then we have a synapse between the nerves, and neurotransmitters are sent along the nerve pathway, and neurotransmitters jump this gap between neurons. This is called a synapse. So neurotransmitters jump the synapse to send information along these neural pathways. So the neurotransmitter is produced, in this case GABA, and then the body produces GABA transaminase in order to stop this trigger from happening, right? So it sends the trigger, and then it stops the trigger. And it sends the trigger again, and it stops the trigger again. And that's how the body regulates GABA activity in the body. Some people will produce elevated levels of GABA transaminase. Their body's always producing a very high amount of this enzyme, and so GABA levels are never able to get too high because the body's always breaking it down, right? And so we can, where did I put my top? We can take things that block, there it is in my plate. We can take things that block transaminase activity. We can take things that enhance GABA activity. Lemon balm does both.
So is the GABA the one that relaxes?
Yes.
So if you have too much, you would be like asleep?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And then
So-
what's the one that inhibits the GABA, or that stops the T?
The GABA transaminase.
Transaminase.
Yes. Yeah. Do you want me to write that down?
Okay.
Transaminase.
So it would be, the lemon balm would be just a regulating agent?
Exactly. It's regulating it. So it's both improving levels of GABA, and it's also regulating transaminase activity. So it's very regulating and normalizing. This is why GABA has long been associated with anxiety, with depression. It is a calming and uplifting plant. And this is really lovely. So often when we have a calming plant, it generally tends to be sedating, and it can be kind of suppressive to like brain function. And there's a difference between lemon balm and many of the other sedatives, because lemon balm not only relieves anxiety, but it increases mental clarity and alertness. And there was a really cool study that was done. I have class notes for you. There was a really cool study that was done in 2003. It was a single dose study, a single dose of lemon balm given to people. It was a high dosage. It was a supplement. So it was a 600 milligram supplement of a concentrated lemon balm extract that would equal like a really strong cup of tea. And then they did a post-dosage study, 1 hour post-dose, 3 and 6 hour post-dose. So single study, the single dosage. This wasn't drink this for a month and we'll see what happens. This was drink a cup of tea and then the clock starts. And in all post-dose effects, in all of them, research showed notable cognitive and mood effects, improved memory performance, and increased calmness at all post-dose time points. So all of those we saw that. And decrements, a decrease in the speed of timed memory task performance. So you're given a minute to do a memory task, right, to do this. So a decrease in the length of time that it took to do time tests. And rapid visual information processing tasks. So in all of these, in all of the post-Doge timing, they found increased levels of cognitive function and also calmness. It's a beautiful combination for the brain to have. And this is one of the reasons why this is a plant that's associated with both merriment, right? This is a plant that Jean Girard, a 15th century herbalist, said lemon balm makes the heart merry, which is a lovely thing to say about a plant. So it makes the heart merry, but it also quiets the brain down, but it also improves function in the brain. We see that quite a lot in Lamiaceae family plants, because remember, lemon balm is closely related to rosemary and sage and tulsi. And all four of those, lemon balm, rosemary, sage, and tulsi, have one more very important organic acid. So we have the ursolic and oleanic acids, and those are really great at calming. But there's also rosmarinic acid. And the rosmarinic acid, named because the highest concentration of it is in rosemary, right? But high concentrations of rosmarinic acid in those four plants, in lemon balm, sage, tulsi, and rosemary. Of all of the Lamiaceae, those are the highest ones. And those are the ones that are associated with memory and mental alertness. Rosmarinic acid has a pretty phenomenal ability at protecting and repairing damage to neurotransmitters in the brain involved in another neurotransmitter. So GABA is one of the primary inhibitory neurotransmitters, calming and relaxing, but there's also one of the primary stimulatory neurotransmitters, neurotransmitters involved in memory and mental alertness and learning, and that is acetyl. Sorry, backwards, folks. I'll fix it hopefully before next week. Right now, just kind of, I don't know, look at it backwards. Use a mirror. Acetylcholine. So acetylcholine is the primary stimulatory neurotransmitter, is the primary memory-associated neurotransmitter. Most nootropics, that the brain-focused supplements and medications that are focused on memory, focus on acetylcholine levels. Acetylcholine receptors are the targets of certain degenerative diseases in the brain that can contribute to senile dementia and age-related memory disorders, because those receptors, if we damage those receptors, then again, considering that the neurotransmitters going along those pathways, those neuronal pathways, if you get to one of those sites, let's build that again. So we have two neurons. We have that synapse between, and we have acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is the neurotransmitter going over there. So if we have any breakdown here between these neurons, this acetylcholine pathway is closed. This is a lane on the 405 that has been closed down, and you can't go there, right? And this is the problem with age-related memory disorders with senile dementia. This right here, the part of the neuron that receives information, is called the dendrite. Okay, and this is the axon. So neurotransmitters jump from the axon, the end of one neuron, to the dendrite of the other. And it is dendritic damage of acetylcholine receptors that is the primary contributing factor to age-related memory disorders and senile dementia. Dendritic deterioration of acetylcholine receptors. And rosmarinic acid can reverse dendritic damage. We see an increase in dendritic growth and repair when people use rosmarinic acid-rich plants. And those are those four plants. It's amazing. We used to think that damage like this in the brain could not be reversed. That's not true. We don't think that anymore because we see significant changes. There's certain damage in the brain that is irreversible. Absolutely. There's certain damage in the body that is irreversible. This is not one of them.
So
Yeah.
rosmarinic acid protects and repairs the acetylcholine receptors
Yes.
in the dendrite?
Yes. That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. Cool stuff. So these are also antiviral. They're immunomodulating. They're strongly antioxidant, as you said. And we have an abundance of flavonoid chemistry along with this that gives lemon balm some pretty profound anti-inflammatory, tissue stabilizing effects and antioxidant effects. The antioxidant effects of lemon balm are also pretty stunning. There was a really cool study also where they gave radiotherapists, people who work in radiation labs. They gave them lemon balm tea, and after 30 days, they tested markers of oxidative damage in their blood, and they found that those markers were dramatically decreased because of the protection against oxidative stress that came from lemon balm tea, because they're always exposed to low levels of radiation. As a technologist around radiation, you're going to get that. So, so drinking lemon balm tea to protect against radiation damage. This is important. Should these be all combined for memory loss? So they all have the same compound. So we're just talking about all four of them being really good sources of the of rosmarinic acid. No, you don't need to take all four of them. Choose one of them to use if you're wanting to support memory loss, and then use that as the basis of a formula that also gives other herbs that would support memory and brain function and nerve health. Let's see. So the flavonoid-rich chemistry of lemon balm makes it a really profound anti-inflammatory plant in general, and so it's going to be really excellent topically for healing wounds. It's good for any kind of heat condition in the skin. Consider that it's not that it has a high amount of those cooling compounds as being cooling acids, but it has the cooling flavonoid chemistry abundantly. So you can use it for eczema, psoriasis, rashes, any red, inflamed, hot tissue heat. And then it also has a high amount of tannins in it, so you're going to get that astringency, as all of the Lamiaceae do.
Is that the mint family?
Yes,
Lamiaceae,
yes,
all
that is
the
the mint
mints.
family, that's
Okay.
right, yes. Now, one of the really important things about lemon balm that I want to bring up, there's two really important things. One of them is that lemon balm is one of the plants that tends to be really powerful against the herpes simplex family of viruses. So lemon balm is really, really great against all of the presentations of that family. So that would be things like herpes, shingles, cold sores, chicken pox. Right? That family of disorders. The flavonoid chemistry of lemon balm is extremely effective at inhibiting viral replication of the herpes simplex family of viruses. Now, we want to remember that generally, when we're working with plants in an antiviral capacity, those plants generally, the antiviral effect is on a family of viruses. We don't get wide spectrum antiviral herbs. That's not how they work. That's not how viruses work. So generally, if a plant is said to be antiviral, it's antiviral to a specific family of viruses. So here, lemon balm is very much a herpes simplex family of viruses. You will see a lot of people making products for treatment of herpes family viral presentations using lemon balm essential oil, using the Melissa essential oil. Given that it's $200 for 10 milliliters of the oil, it is ridiculous to use Melissa essential oil in products for this, especially since it isn't the essential oil that is therapeutic. And so this is a really important aspect of it. It is the flavonoid chemistry that is therapeutic against the viruses. It is not the essential oil. Don't waste your money getting Melissa essential oil to make into a topical treatment for shingles or whatever. And a lot of people sell this. If you go online, there are tremendous amounts of lemon balm products that are based on the essential oil that they're selling for astronomical amounts of money, and that isn't the proper chemistry. It is flavonoid chemistry, and that flavonoid chemistry is there even if you have very old plant that doesn't have any kind of lemon scent to it at all. Even if you are looking at your dried lemon balm and your dried nettles and you cannot tell the difference between them, the lemon balm is still going to be therapeutically active for this purpose.
And is that, it's water soluble?
And it's water soluble. Yeah.
Could you make like a witch hazel out of it?
You can make a witch hazel out of it. You can also, it is also oil soluble. These are widely soluble, and so you can make an infused oil.
Yeah, but with that clog, I'm thinking of like a outbreak of shingles. Sometimes the shingles are oily. You know?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't want to put an oil on top of that? Or
No, not in the open lesions.
Yeah.
But once the lesions close, quite often you have post-herpetic neuralgia that can persist along the area where the lesions, the shingles was. And that can last for a very, very long time. And so you could use it for that. But no, a spray, plus just touching those lesions, right? Who would want to touch?
Yeah.
So making a spray, you can make a very strong tea and just spray it right on. That would be lovely.
But
That would
then
be perfect.
internally it would probably be the most effective. If you're
Both.
Drinking the strong
Both,
tea.
yes. Drink the tea and then also spray it on topically. Yeah.
Would it be effective to do a tincture as well?
Absolutely, you can also do a tincture. And so you can take the tincture, and the tincture also you could take internally. You could put the tincture in water, make a dilute tincture solution, and also apply that topically, and that would be fine. Lemon balm works really well with two other plants that are also effective against this family of viruses, and that is, well, there's three plants that are also effective against this family of viruses: licorice, St. John's wort, and Larea or chaparral. I'm pointing that way because that's where our deserts are, and that's where chaparral lives. So I'm pointing to chaparral's house. I made some salve using lemon balm, and self-heal was amazing. Self-heal is also a great one for that. Absolutely, Teresa. Self-heal, also a member of the Lamiaceae family, one of the non-aromatic Lamiaceae. Self-heal is so good. It's so beautiful too. Do you grow self-heal, Teresa? It's just one of the most beautiful flowers.
It looks like chamomile, right? Is it
Self-heal? No, I'll show you some. I've got some, it's not flowering, but I'll show you the foliage of it. It makes these beautiful purple flower spikes, these long flower spikes. It's just gorgeous.
What's the one that looks like chamomile?
Feverfew?
Oh, fever.
The, like, fake
We have a whole
chamomile?
bunch of feverfew out there, yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
one, sorry, I know it's off topic, but is that like an effective plant?
Feverfew?
Or- yeah.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay, because I
Yeah.
know there's like a fake chamomile that you see around all the time. It looks a
Oh,
lot
there's
like it.
pineapple weed.
Yeah, pineapple.
Yeah,
Okay,
pineapple
that's
weed is, yes, yeah. Pineapple weed is also medicinal though.
Oh,
You can
okay.
use it, absolutely.
Okay.
It's Matricaria, it's in the same genus as German chamomile. So German chamomile is Matricaria, oh, Julie. Recutita, whew. Like, I've got folks online, I've got y'all.
Drink that lemon balm.
I know, right? Matricaria recutita. And the pineapple weed is Matricaria discoides. Discoides, it's called discoides because it only has the disc flowers and not the ray flowers. So, Asteraceae family plants, this is, whenever you make a flower like this, that's an Asteraceae family plant. Because you have ray flowers, these are all ray flowers, and these are all disc flowers in here. So in a pineapple weed, and in a German chamomile, you're going to have a disc and ray flower combined. In a pineapple weed, you just have the disc. and there are no rays. And it's raised up. It looks kind of like a pineapple because it's got the cone is like big. And it smells like chamomile. But you can use pineapple weed as a chamomile, yes. There's also Roman chamomile, which is not a matricaria. It's an anthemis. And that we have growing by the front door over there. And that's the one where you can run your hand over the foliage, and the foliage has that beautiful aromatic chamomile scent. But that can't be used. Okay, but we're talking about Melissa. Pineapple weed don't grow here. Reminds me of, bugleweed. Yeah, bugleweed don't grow here. So I've always wanted to try bugleweed because people talk about it so often, along with lemon balm. Oh, that brings up another very important aspect. I'm so glad that you brought up bugleweed. Why, Teresa, am I glad that you brought up bugleweed when I was talking about lemon balm? Do you know? Does anyone know? This is obscure. You get like 20 points if you get the association between bugleweed and lemon balm. So one of the other areas of interest and concern about lemon balm is that in people with hyperthyroidism, too high an amount of thyroid hormone in their body, elevated thyroid hormone can cause rapid heart rate. It can cause jitteriness. It can cause increased heat, bulging eyes, increased metabolic functioning, basically is what we're talking about, right? Increased metabolic functioning, because that's what the thyroid governs, is metabolism. And so when we have too much thyroid hormone, we have increased metabolic functioning. That's really, really problematic to the body. It can really cause a lot of breakdown. And it causes anxiety, heart palpitations, jitteriness. Lemon balm is a plant that's used for quieting down that. Makes sense. It is a sedative plant, right? It is a nervine plant. So it's going to help at a nervine level for quieting down hyperthyroid activity.
Does it work on the thyroid?
No.
The nervous system.
Nervous system.
Just like the effects of hyperthyroidism?
Yes. But if you read about lemon balm and bugleweed, this is where I was going with the bugleweed, Teresa. Both lemon balm and bugleweed, the three plants that are generally used for hyperthyroidism that you'll see talked about, lemon balm, bugleweed, and motherwort. Because motherwort is also really good for atrial fibrillation and rapid heart rate, just to quiet that down. So all of them are very good for quieting that down, which led to, in most books that you read in lemon balm, they will say that hypothyroidism, too low an amount of thyroid hormone, is a contraindication for the use of lemon balm, because lemon balm will lower thyroid hormone activity, and so it would be contraindicated for someone with low thyroid. That is untrue. Because it doesn't affect the thyroid, it affects the nervous system. It affects manifestations of high thyroid, but it is not blocking thyroid hormone. That's not how it works. It is a simple nervine.
Does bugleweed, though?
I don't know, because I don't get to use bugleweed that much. Do you know, Teresa, does bugleweed block thyroid hormone? I just know that it is something a lot of people have concerns about when they're wanting to use lemon balm, because you read all this great stuff about lemon balm, everyone loves it, and then someone with low thyroid, which is really common, it's very, very common to have, especially things like Hashimoto's thyroiditis, autoimmune low thyroid function, hypothyroid, it's really, really common. So there's a lot of people who love to use lemon balm, but because they read in books, you can't use lemon balm if you have hypothyroidism, they think that it's off the table. It is not. It's not off the table. It is fine to use lemon balm, even if you have hypothyroid, even if you're taking Synthroid, it does not matter because it doesn't affect thyroid hormones. There are 3 now herb schools that have focused on this because this is such big misinformation. There's 3 clinical herbalists that run herb schools and run herb clinics. So they're like running people through those clinics all the time because all of the students have clients too, and so they were able to test a very large body of people in these 3 clinics associated with the herb schools. And yeah, there's no contraindication there. So go right ahead and drink lemon balm tea if you have low thyroid function. You might get a little bit sleepy, you might get a little relaxed. But remember that even though it's relaxing to the body and relaxing to the brain, it is also increasing clarity and focus and alertness. So it's a nice balance there. Let's see. Cool study on, this was an animal study, but it would be applicable. In rhesus monkeys, isolated rosmarinic acid in a 5% solution applied topically significantly lowered gingivitis plaque when compared to placebo. So you could use lemon balm as a mouthwash. Yeah, but primarily, yeah, we are using it for anxiety, for memory, and for its antiviral properties and activities, and for the significant anti-inflammatory and antioxidant qualities that it has. So it's safe to use long term, it's safe to use every day, it's safe to give to children. It is a great plant for children. Now, one of the reasons to use it for kids is for colds and flu. It's a nice plant for colds and flu. It's not a plant that is effective against the rhinovirus or the influenza virus. Those are not the viral families that it's effective against, but it's really nice for the symptoms of cold and flu, for helping to kind of relieve that. And one of the things that it is very good at, especially this plays into its use during flu, it is a very common plant for colds and flu. It is a diaphoretic. Diaphoresis is sweating, right? So if we induce diaphoresis, we're going to take something that's going to make us sweat. So a diaphoretic plant is a plant that induces sweating in the body. And why can that be helpful? Well, if we think about a fever, if we think about someone having a fever, particularly if that fever hasn't broken. So we take their temperature, and their temperature is 104 degrees. Now, number one, we want to be mindful that generally it is best to not treat fevers, not lower fevers, right? The fever response in the body is a really important part of our immune system. Mounting a fever is a very effective way of making this environment hostile to pathogens. It's a really effective tool that our body has. And when we just indiscriminately go and lower the temperature of our body down, we undo so much work that our body put into mounting that fever, and we create a perfect environment for those viruses to replicate in our body. So we see a dramatic increase in viral replication when we lower that fever. So don't do that. But when we use diaphoretics, we're not lowering the fever, we're releasing the fever outwards. And so what a diaphoretic is doing is, say that you have someone with a fever, and you look at their skin, and their skin is, maybe it's warm, but it's dry, right? So it's dry, or it's cool and dry, and you take their fever, it's like, wow, you have 102, 104 degree fever, but your skin is pale, and it's kind of not really hot to the touch on your cheeks, and maybe the head is, but the cheeks are relatively cool. This is a person who has heat that is stuck inside their body. It's stored in the core. The heat is there, but the heat isn't able to radiate out, and that's how we lose heat, is by radiation. So we take relaxing diaphoretic plants because it relaxes the exterior of the body and allows that heat to radiate outwards. So lemon balm is one of those. If you take lemon balm tea, drink a strong cup of lemon balm tea, and you bundle up, you are going to sweat. You'll do that with yarrow and elderflower, and that combination of lemon balm, yarrow, and elderflower is a very, very, very classic tea blend for just this purpose. And it's very good for children who have colds and flu. Children, even very young children, or they're not infants, children are not able to regulate the fever response as well, right? Their bodies are still trying to figure stuff out. So we see children in many illnesses that wouldn't generally, in an adult body, wouldn't mount a fever, but the fever response is bigger in some kids, and some kids just really get fevers very, very readily. And so that combination, or any of those herbs to have on hand to give to children when they're mounting a fever, is a really nice way. Lemon balm is particularly good because it tastes much better. Yarrow, it's kind of hard to talk a kid into drinking strong yarrow tea. It's hard to get some adults into drinking strong yarrow tea. Elderflower is pretty good. Lemon balm is as a nice flavor, and the combination of elderflower and lemon balm and yarrow modifies that bitterness of yarrow and makes it pretty drinkable. My book says the buccal weed slows thyroid function. Little Herb Encyclopedia. Jack Richardson. Yeah. Now that is an older book, and our understanding of thyroid activity has just changed dramatically. So it may be. Not saying that it's not. I would want a more updated. Oh, you don't know? Oh, so Teresa hasn't used the bugle weed either. She's just planted it years ago for a ground cover. Yeah, here's a beautiful brown ground cover. So, so yeah, slows thyroid function. You'll probably, in fact, I would be interested. Trish, can you look up and see if he says the same thing about lemon balm in there? Would you look at that? Because that would be interesting to see. I'll bet he does. Because most of them do. I mean, even really, really excellent, reputable books will still say incorrect information about lemon balm because it's relatively new information that we have. And that's what I was taught in school. That's what I taught for many years. It's just newer information. All right. Boop, 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 boop. It's so easy to grow. It's a member of the mint family. And so plant lemon balm, it will spread and grow and spread and grow. And then you can dig it up and give it away to people. I had a beautiful big lemon balm that spread so widely in my garden. I'd regularly just chop it up and throw it into pots and give it out to people. So there's lots of lemon balm growing that is my grandbabies. So yeah, so grow it yourself. You do want to give it a little bit of stress when you're planting lemon balm. So lemon balm is one of those plants that can grow in full shade and it could grow in full sun. In my garden, I had one batch that was in full sun and one batch that was in full shade against a brick wall that got a lot of moisture. And that one was big and green and lush. The leaves were huge and it was constantly enormous. And the one that was in the full sun was always kind of yellow and the leaves were smaller and it was stressed more. But if you took leaves from both of them, and I don't live in that house anymore, but I would love to bring those in because I loved bringing them in and showing people. There was this kind of yellowed little leaf and this big green leaf, and the yellowed leaf was so much more aromatic. And the green leaf was almost impossible to smell anything, even though they were both growing in the same garden. They were the same, they're clones of the same plant, but the environment that they were growing is significantly different. So a lot of times we'll see this in plants if we coddle them, if we give them like everything that they want, not too much sun and a whole bunch of water and really moist soil, they end up not making a lot of certain compounds. Heat stress and sun stress in particular increase the production of essential oils. Essential oils are part of the immune system of the plant, and they respond they respond to stress by increasing essential oil content. So that's actually something, if you're going to grow it, do grow it somewhere where it gets a little bit of stress, whatever stress means in your environment, right? Here in Southern California, it means full sun. Part sun is beautiful. It loves part sun. Full shade is a little bit too, which was why it was like that. Yeah, consider just stressing it a little bit.
Dry too, right?
On the drier side, it likes on the drier side, but then to be occasionally just doused with water, so you get really deep soaking, which comes in a rain storm. We've had rain this weekend. I've been so happy about the rain. I know, finally. Yes. Yeah, so keep it dry, but deep soaks every once in a while, and that will allow the roots to grow really deep too, and it protects it against dryness, against drought. So let's see. Teresa says, mine was morning sun, evening shade, did great. Yeah. Here, because we have, Teresa, are you in Texas? I don't remember where y'all live. I seem to remember you're in Texas. Here, full sun here means part sun in many other places. important thing to remember about growing here, because when we have full sun, we have a lot of full sun. It's a lot of sun. So even our full sun here is not appropriate for some plants. So yeah, part shade is best for that one. All right. Any questions about it? No? Yeah. All right. So go make some lemon balm tea and enjoy it, and check on that. Make some, and oh, here's notes here. You can take those and pass those around. There's 2 pages, so get a first page, and then in the back is a second page. Check it and try for that effect that it has on the anxiety, calming anxiety and increasing clarity and focus. All right.
Would you combine it with go-to cola?
I absolutely would combine it with go-to cola. Actually, that's a great answer to, who was it that asked? Someone had asked about what to combine it with for brain function. So yeah, go-to cola would be great. Go-to cola, lemon balm, rosemary. Rosemary, adding some rosemary in with it. So Teresa, you were asking if we needed all 4 of those herbs. You don't need all 4, but consider the energetics, right? So we do have a calming effect from the lemon balm. So you want to use lemon balm in your tea because of the rosmarinic acid, but you also really don't want that sedating effect that it has. Even though it's increasing mental focus and clarity, you still don't want that sedation. Throw some rosemary in there too, because rosemary is more stimulating, right? Or tulsi would also be a really good combination with that. Tulsi and rosemary, much more stimulating, not nearly as sedating. So you're still going to get that rosmarinic acid increase. You're going to get all of the other benefits from them, and you're not going to have quite as strong a sedating effect. So that would be a good combination. That would be actually a great combination. Lemon balm, go-to cola, rosemary, and tulsi.
Would that be a good tea or
That would be
tincture?
tasty.
'Cause
That would be great either way. You can make that as a tea and you can make that as a tincture. All of those plants do great with both.
oh, okay.
Yeah. It would be a nice tasting
It'd be
tincture.
delicious.
It would be delicious, yeah. You can make it as a glycerite too,
Yeah.
or an oxymel. Yeah, you could do pretty much anything with that blend. And that would be good. Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, folks, for, oh, let me see. Thanks for showing up. There is a bathroom right back there. It doesn't list the lemon balm or Melissa in either the 3rd or 4th edition. Trish, thanks so much for, Southwest Georgia. And yeah, fires. I think, are the fires finally out here?
I think so. As far as, I was just up in Pasadena this weekend. I mean, I saw the mountain, I didn't see anything.
Yeah, the mountains are clear. So I'm hoping that even the deeper fires were finally, because we did get some pretty strong rain, I'm hoping that the fires are out now. Thank God. All right, folks, thanks for showing up. I will see you next week. All right, bye.